Chapter 45. Alex strode down the hall with Thomas by his side. Thomas had remained remarkably silent since he had pulled Alex from Danielle's celebration. He had taken him up to the 47th floor and now walked down the hallway with eyes on the ground. Alex, however, took in everything. Not that he had much to see, just white. White walls, white floors, white fluorescent lights shining down on them. The tan-colored doors provided the only pops of color. The doors had no numbers or identifiers at all. Thomas, listen. Alex played with the pencil in his pocket. I know you can't tell me much about the captain's test, but can you at least tell me if it's written or practical? I can't say. Not even the form of the test? Alex pulled the pencils out of his pocket. Can't you even tell me if I have the right pencils? Thomas shook his head. You guys sure are secretive about it. It's an ingenious test. Thomas held his hands behind his back. If someone found out about it, they could easily game the system. So only active members know about it because they've been through it before? Thomas nodded. Alex cocked his head. You almost trust your members not to say anything. We do. Thomas opened the door to the right. You're in here. Thanks, Thomas. I mean it. I couldn't have gotten my team this far without your help. I'm glad you came to introduce yourself. Alex turned to go inside. Alex turned to him. Thomas opened his mouth but closed it. He shook his head. Good luck. Thanks. Alex walked in. Thomas forced a smile and closed the door, leaving Alex alone. A single chair sat in the middle of a white room with subway tiled floors. A window looked out onto the darkening sky. Guess it's not a written test. Alex pocketed his pencils. Nowhere to write. He sat in the chair. Minutes ticked by. Alex tapped his feet on the floor. The air conditioning had been set very low, and goosebumps grew on Alex's skin. He rubbed his arms to warm them and tapped his feet on the floor. The silence deafened him. Other than the sound of his shoes tapping and the air conditioning cycling on and off, Alex heard nothing. He shivered. A door on the other side of the room opened. Alex blinked. The door had been painted white to blend into the walls. He hadn't noticed it. A tall man with dark hair walked in. He had a clipboard full of papers in his hands. Alex Donson. Here. Alex hopped to his feet. Carlin Davis, Director of the Intergalactic Civilian Defense Agency. How are you? He held his hands out to Alex. I could be better, sir. Alex shook his hand. It's a bit cold, and I have no idea what's going to happen next. Davis chuckled. It's the way we like it, Dodson. Alex tried not to show his annoyance at being called by his last name. Do you proctor all the team captain's tests, sir? I would think the director of the entire agency would be too busy. I don't do it often. Only when the situation is unusual. Your entire team is unusual. Every single one of you broke some sort of record. Really? Alex raised his eyebrows. He liked the sound of this. Hemley Joyce, the youngest astropilot to ever get a perfect score on her pilot's evaluation exam. She was pretty spectacular, wasn't she? Alex brought up the memory of her space flight. He grinned at the ease in which she handled the ship. I'm so glad I took Tajay's advice. Davis flipped to another page. Tajay Donson, who passed his medical tech evaluation in record time with a 169 out of 200. 169? What's that, 84.5? Alex frowned. That's not like him. The buffoon must have been nervous. I knew I should have drilled him more. Danielle Stanon. Heh. Davis chuckled, his stomach quivering up and down. Never thought she'd get on a team. She's a perfect match for mine. Then there's you. Davis let his hands drop to his side. The team captain who got the lowest captain evaluation score in the history of the agency. What? Alex gaped at him. How is it possible? I haven't even taken the test. You've been taking the test ever since you submitted the paperwork to form your team, Donson. Your team's opinion of you is highly factored. We've used security cameras to analyze what they said about you and what they've said to each other and their friends about you. I have to tell you, Davis handed him some papers. Your team does not have a high opinion of you. Alex took the papers. Each one had his team's profile and picture on top. Beneath it, an opinion graph had been drawn. Danielle's sheet had been placed on top. Her graph started in the middle and plummeted immediately. It remained low all the way across. 5% approval rate had been written at the bottom. Emily's graph came next. It started high before dipping into the 30s. Then it increased right before the cutoff. 34 approval rate. Alex pulled Tajay's graph next. His graph started high, then slowly dipped before starting to increase. 69% approval rate. Wow. Alex shook his head. Even Tash, huh? I'm curious to know what you think about this. David stuck his remaining papers under his arm. I'm not surprised at all. Alex set the papers on the chair. I knew they'd hate me after what I'd put them through. They made their opinions known, so... But I didn't know I'd be graded according to their opinions. Now all those warnings everyone kept giving me made sense. If you knew then what you know now, would you change anything about the way you handle your team? Nothing. Nothing at all? Alex gave it some thought. That's not quite true. I would have made Tajay study more. I don't think I spent enough time with Emily. If I had, I would have noticed what was causing her trouble and could have helped her sooner. She wouldn't have gotten so discouraged. And Stanon? Danielle? I wouldn't change a thing with her. Alex snatched her paper from the pile. She might hate me, but do you see what she accomplished? I'm so proud of her. I see. Davis turned on his heel. This concludes the interview. What happens next? What do you mean? My team passed their evaluations with flying colors. Alex held on to the back of the chair. Doesn't seem fair they should suffer through extra training because I failed. You're advocating for your team even though they're the reason you failed? Regardless of how they feel about me, they're good at what they do. They deserve a chance to prove it. As to you, Dawson. Davis opened the door he had come in through. Alex! Emily pushed past him. Alex, I'm so sorry about the opinion graph. I didn't know. Danielle and Tajay walked in together. They had their heads hung. Alex, Danielle played with her fingers. Guys, stop it. Alex pushed Emily off. You can't help how you felt about me after I treated you like dirt. Heck, if I treated me like I treated you, I wouldn't have a high opinion of me either. The test isn't fair. Emily swung around to Davis. I demand you reevaluate him. That's right. Danielle crossed her arms. You should ask us our opinion of him now. Tajay nodded. Guys, it's all right. Alex stepped between them and Davis. I'll get another chance. I'm afraid that's not how this works, Dotson. Davis had his hand on the doorknob. Once a team captain fails his evaluation, he can't take the test again, for obvious reasons. Then this is his only chance? Emily let her hands flop. I don't want another captain. Tajay stood behind Alex. If he leaves, I leave. Me too. Emily stood in front of Alex. She crossed her arms and snorted. You guys don't have to do this, Alex said. Yes, we do. Right, Tash? Tajay nodded. Right, Danielle? Emily turned to Danielle. She hadn't moved from her spot. Emily let her arms uncrossed. Danielle? Danielle rubbed her arm. She bit her bottom lip. Alex smiled at her. Guys, this isn't fair. You're asking her to give up everything for a guy she doesn't like that much. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Danny, after your performance today, you have a chance to get on a team now. Anyone you want. Take the chance. Just don't let Emily fall behind. And don't let anyone say anything bad about Tajay, would you? So just like that, you're leaving? I don't think I have another choice. Alex gazed at the sky outside the window. I'll find a way to get out there. Don't think this is going to stop me. Danielle looked him in the eye. Then I think I'll join you. I'd be a pretty horrible person if I abandoned you after all you did for me, Alex. Danielle turned to Davis. If he goes, sir, I go too. We need him on our team. You understand what this means, don't you, Stanon? Davis leaned close to her. Have you thought about what your father would say? Danielle looked in his eyes. My father has no bearing on my decision, Director. Finally, you've grown some backbone, Stanon. Davis smiled. Again, your team is breaking records, Donson. What do you mean, sir? Alex said. Captain's evaluation is in two phases. Team's opinion during training and team's opinion after training. Davis smirked. You're the first captain to fail one phase and still pass the evaluation. Your team sure loves you. Alex's mouth dropped open. So, I passed? Congratulations, Alex. To all of you. Davis headed out the door. Your uniforms will be in your new active member dorms. You can move in this week. Next week, you can start accepting missions. So, we did it? Emily leapt into the air. We did it! David pulled out a box from his pocket. He handed it to Alex. I look forward to seeing your team's progress, Donson. I expect great things. Alex opened the box. A bronze badge with the agency seal emblazoned on it sat inside. Thank you, sir, Alex said. Davis smiled at him before he walked out and closed the door behind him. Tajay gazed at his badge. We did it! Emily squealed. We are official team members. Thanks to you, Alex looked at each of them. Thanks for sticking by me, guys. You would have done the same for us. Danielle jostled his shoulder. For them, maybe. For you. Alex smirked at her. Jerk. Danielle smiled. I can't believe it, I can't believe it, I can't believe it. Emily hopped around them. I am officially an astropilot. Wait until I tell my mom and dad. Oh, and Bobby, and Brady, and Evelyn. She darted out of the room. Father will be so excited. Danielle clenched her hands together. I have to call him. Excuse me. She made a bow before leaving. She caught up with Emily and they chatted while running out. Alex turned to Tajay. Here it is, Taj. He held out his badge to show him. This is our ticket to the stars. Tajay grunted and nodded. We won't stop here. Alex clutched the badge in his fist. With our team, nothing can hinder us. I agree. Want to go check out our new digs? Tajay nodded. I get the window bed. Hey, Alex stared at him. I always get the window bed. I want it. What happened to always giving in to what I want? You said I didn't have to. I'll race you for it. Alex took off. He darted out of the room. Go! He called from the hallway. Tajay ran out behind him. Alex grinned at him over his shoulder. He knew he couldn't beat Tajay in a race. In fact, he knew Tajay would hold himself back to make Alex feel better about himself. Then he'd trip or something so Alex would win. This time, Tajay had a surprise coming. Alex would be the one who threw the race to let him win. He didn't mind having a second-rate bed. He didn't mind sacrificing for Tajay at all. He'd do anything just to keep that smile on his friend's face. And now he had a team to help him do it.